Thank you all for coming. I apologize for being late. A chairman's meeting was called for this morning, and you know, it's a chairman's meeting, and it's one that the speaker is given an opportunity to speak at and with us, and I certainly couldn't get up and leave that. But I apologize to you. No disrespect to the committee members or to anyone from the public. Thank you. We'll call this meeting to order of the House Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee. Thank you. Wanted to, before we get started, wanted to, let's see, we don't have the whole team here, but during the interim, Janae Burke, our committee aide, has gone to pursue other things. In fact, she's here with us, and she did a fantastic job during her tenure here at the Capitol, not only with my committee, but I'd worked with Janae and Chairman Harbin down in appropriations, and she always did a fantastic job for us, and we appreciate you, Janae. Appreciate that you're here doing, and now she's doing other things, and she's actually here as a representative from the public for, I think, for some organizations. So thank you. And Leo is now our committee aide. He's already doing a fantastic job and set the meeting up this morning. And Max, is Max here? Where's Max? Max Doss over here. Max is helping Leo this year during the session, and Max was my aide last year. A student from Georgia State. He's from up in Blue Ridge, and Max has done a fantastic job, and I know he'll do a fantastic job with Leo and our committee. So, having said that, we're here to take up House Bill 176 this morning, and I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to present the bill. I'm going to turn this over to Chairman Geisinger in just a moment. So I don't want to overstep my bounds with Chairman Geisinger before I present the bill. But I do want to say that I appreciate different groups, different organizations who come together on this piece of legislation. They worked together. They worked together and came back with recommendations for a substitute for this year, and I'm very happy that that's happened. And I guess I really shouldn't. I'll mention some groups. I won't mention any names in particular, but Georgia Municipal Association. We'll mention Marcy. Marcy, I know she's here someplace. Appreciate you. ACCG, Todd. I guess I am mentioning names. AT&T, and that would be in particular Kevin Curtin, Verizon, Mr. Jones, Chris Jones, and it seemed like there was another, Sprint probably was involved in this also. And but appreciate them actually coming together. They came together back in during the interim, but in particular in November, and made a commitment to work on this, try to find some common ground, and because it is an important issue. It's important not only for telecommunications, but in particular it's important for our citizens all across the state, whether they live in unincorporated or they live in a city, so or live in both a county and a city. So I want to thank them for that. They worked hard. They made a commitment to work on it and find common ground and come up with recommendations for a substitute, and they did that. They met their commitment and worked hard on it, and they'll have an opportunity to make a statement. And amongst those organizations, and there's no opposition, and no opposition that I know of. So with that, Chairman Geisinger, I will turn this over to you for the purpose of presenting this bill. Just change. Good, go.
You can present it from up here.
Yeah, present it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have before us House Bill 176, and the LC number. Which one are we using?
I want to make sure. I do want to make sure we have the right LC number. The one I have is LC362428C. I'm sorry, I can't tell the difference. I'm actually supposed to pick up new glasses later today. That's the truth. LC362428S is the sub that I have here.
If you would, Mr.
I want to make sure if anybody before I present this, is there any? I don't want us to pass the wrong substitute.
Mr. Chairman, would you proceed, please?
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Geiser, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. Of course, this is a piece of legislation that you're familiar with. We reviewed it in committee, subcommittee last year, and I think maybe in committee. I think we actually voted out twice. And I won't restate what I've just said. I do appreciate the people who came together. There's some. These are changes they brought to me. I can go through the bill. I hope everybody's had an opportunity to kind of look through that sub. But what it does, it limits fees, limits local fees to the actual cost of the review, and institutes a maximum fee cap of $500 for co-locations and modifications. It eliminates contingency fee arrangements for reviews. It limits renewal, rental, lease fees to fair market value for wireless facilities on public property. It limits the time for review, adds a state shot clock for new sites that matches the time frame the existing FCC shot clock. It institutes a state shot clock, that's hard to say, for new sites of 150 days, streamlines aspects of local review. In reviewing an application for a site, local governments may not require the removal of an active existing site in order to approve a new site, or require the site to be built on public property as an alternative to proposed private property. And that's what the bill does. I would go through it, but you all are familiar with this legislation. I mean, if you have any questions about the particular section or page, I'll be glad to try to answer it. And Mr. Chairman, as I stated before, I'll be glad to try to answer any questions right now, but I would hope that you give those who signed up an opportunity to speak briefly about the bill. And I would ask you, and I ask the members to please approve this bill so we can pass it on to the Rules Committee and get it on through the process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bob Davis of Verizon. We look forward to hearing from your remarks in regards to whether you agree or disagree.
Good morning, Chairman Parsons, Vice Chairman Geisinger, and members of the committee. I am Bob Davis, and I'm Director of State Government Affairs for Verizon. I want to thank the Chairman and members of the committee for affording Verizon this opportunity to speak in support of HB 176, the Mobile Broadband Infrastructure Leads to Development Act. I also want to personally thank Chairman Parsons for bringing the parties together to negotiate a favorable compromise in this matter. HB 176 is very important to Verizon, as it will not only help expedite further development of wireless voice services in the state, but more importantly, the development and deployment of wireless broadband services to Georgia consumers. Increasingly, consumers are accessing the internet through wireless devices. Analysts anticipate that mobile data traffic will increase by 850% between 2012 and 2017. In fact, by 2015, a majority of Americans will utilize a wireless device as their primary tool to access the internet. HB 176 will help to accommodate this coming tsunami with respect to broadband mobile usage. In addition to Verizon and AT&T, HB 176 has the support of T-Mobile, Sprint, Southern Link, the Georgia Chamber, the Technology Association of Georgia, CTIA, the Wireless Association, PCIA, the Wireless Infrastructure Association, and the Georgia Wireless Association. Verizon urges your support for HB 176. Thank you, and I'm available to take any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm Kevin Curtin, Regional Vice President for Legislative Affairs with AT&T. I'd just like to start off by thanking Chairman Parsons for his time and effort over the interim of getting the parties together. We spent many hours debating the issues that were originally in House Bill 176, and the result of those negotiations is the bill you have in front of you today, the substitute to House Bill 176. I think that House Bill 176 is an important step forward as it helps expedite further wireless broadband deployment in the state of Georgia. And that's what Georgia consumers are demanding day to day. The increasing demands that Bob mentioned on the network are not going to end anytime soon. We think those are going to continue, as we could hear people's phones ringing behind us. Thank you. That was right on cue. Perfect. Somebody's getting a bonus. In closing, I just wanted to also let you know that in addition to AT&T supporting the bill, there's some other folks who didn't want to get up this morning but wanted me to mention their support. Those include the Augusta Chamber of Commerce, the Macon Chamber of Commerce, the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, the Cobb Chamber, the Metro Atlanta Chamber, Freedom Works, Americans for Prosperity, Citizens for a Digital Future, and the American Consumer Institute all support House Bill 176. So I would urge your support of the bill and look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Use 24. Representative Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to acknowledge Kumbaya, and everybody in the room is for this bill, and at the proper time I'd like to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, as long as we still have a few speakers left, and they got up at an early hour to join us, so we'll take advantage and allow you to speak. Yes, Todd is next, please.
Good day, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Todd Edwards, Associate Legislative Director with ACCG, or the County Commissioners Association. I'll echo what my predecessors just stated. We worked many hours over the interim to try to find common ground. ACCG believes the language that is before you in House Bill 176 is fair and is reasonable. Thus, ACCG will take a neutral position on this legislation. We hope to maintain the language as is throughout the process, and we'll work with our partners at AT&T and Verizon over any challenges or any changes. Hope to continue working together. I'm pretty sure this may not be the last time the language on cell towers comes before you, and in the future I hope we can continue working together as we have done over this interim. With that, again, ACCG remains neutral on this legislation. I thank you, and I'm open to any questions.
Are there any questions? Hearing none or seeing none. Marcy, I believe you're the last speaker we have.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Marcy Rubinson. I'm with the Georgia Municipal Association. Thank you very much to the chairman for getting us all together. I'm so pleased that we've been able to reach a compromise. This legislation does strike a reasonable balance between the need for local land use control and the need for the deployment of communications infrastructure, and I'm pleased that GMA is neutral on this legislation.
Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman, they gave me time to read further here, and if we went with Chairman Hamilton's motion, I wouldn't have had this question. Mr. Rubinson, I know you've been familiar, and this is actually a serious question. On the top of the old bill, there was a paragraph F that said if the local governing authority failed to approve or disapprove, then it was deemed approved. I know that's not in the new bill, but everybody's happy with the shot clock on the new and the old. Where did that language get merged into or in the new bill? I'm having a hard time finding it.
The FCC is in the middle of an NPR, a notice for a proposed rulemaking to take up that very issue. So in light of the fact that the federal government is considering, the FCC is considering this language, the stakeholders decided that it made more sense to leave it out of the state law to see what the federal government, what the FCC decided first.
Okay, so we're leaving it to them on the renewal type or the change, modification, co-location, and only putting the shot clock on the new application.
Well, the shot clock already exists for the co-location language. The shot clock has been instituted in here for the new build, for the new tower piece. But the application being deemed approved, if no action is taken within that time frame, is up at the FCC right now for consideration.
Okay, so if the time runs out, silent, paragraph F, which is gone now, they can or cannot build the tower.
If it's approved, they can build the tower. If it's not approved, they don't have to build the tower. If no decision is made, then it will go to court until the FCC has made some determinations.
That's where I wanted to get the process of if there was no action, then the court. In the unlikely event there's no action, the court would handle it. That's fair.
Yes, sir.
That's what I wanted to get to. Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, I believe we have a motion. Is there any discussion on the bill, further discussion, House Bill 176? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you for coming. I'll pass it back to the chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Geisinger. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. Anyone from the committee have anything that they would like to bring to us today? Not seeing any. And I forgot to acknowledge Sean Marie Story over here. Thank you for all your hard work with this. I know that you put a lot of time into this with modifications and changes and substitutes. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your work and what you do for us. Thank you. Was there? Does somebody have something? I don't think so. With that, with no objection, the meeting is adjourned.